So, in the biggest news this city has seen in a very long time, probably since they announced the reopening of the casinos last June, we now have an opening date almost exactly a year later for the Resorts World Las Vegas. And that date is June 24th. So here's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. No, I'm just kidding. I hope you guys would stay tuned for the rest of this video because we're going to go over the most horrendous building project I've ever seen in the history of this city. We're going to talk about 15 years of just people going through project development hell, different rebrands, different redesigns, different owners, people dying on site during construction, people being sued over the look of the project, and here we are at the finish line. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. This is crazy tale, and I wrote down a bunch of points, and I've actually spent over an hour trying to record this little short 10 or 15 minute video. Hopefully this doesn't go much longer than my standard videos, but it might, because I wanted to get this right. How's it going, everybody? My name is Steven, and I am not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. Hope you guys would like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell for future notifications if you guys want to do that. And while you're at it, leave us a comment below. That helps a lot. Trust me, commenting on the videos is great. You know, if you guys want to leave us a comment, tell us about your Stardust memories or whether or not you're going to come to Resorts World when you come to Vegas. I don't suspect a lot of you guys are going to be skipping out on this one, considering it's right on the Strip, not too far from the Wynn and the Encore anyways. Yeah, leave us a comment below. If you guys want to support us further, Patreon and channel memberships are great options for ongoing support. You guys get your name in the credits on both options. Patreon, people get extra photos. People on the YouTube channel memberships, you guys get extra little things like little chat icons when you're in our live streams. We also have VegasFaceMask.com, the only two masks that you'll ever need, made by my wife, Sweet Caroline. Sing it with me. Dun, dun, dun. These are 2 for $25. She makes them by hand. You have to wear a mask in a lot of places these days. You might as well wear the best ones that you can get, and you support the channel in doing so. 2 for $25, VegasFaceMask.com. And yes, we ship internationally to Canada, UK, everywhere else for a small fee, but they ship anywhere in this country for free. Pretty good deal. All right, so we have to get to the history of everything, but what about the impacts of the Resorts World Las Vegas? It's going to have a huge impact on everything. Look, June 24th, that's going to be over a year since the main strip casinos reopened, like I mentioned. And it's going to be a nice reminder that this city is very resilient. It's not ever going to be going anywhere because it is a hub of activity and where people love to go. All right, so when June 24th happens, 90% of the property they're saying is going to be pretty much open. So you're going to have gaming, you're going to have rooms, you're going to have everything going on, I believe. I believe the rooms are open for sure, right? Now, some of the things about this project that are a little bit different, though, is that this project is not relying heavily on gaming. It's going to be bringing people in terms of entertainment in Vegas. They're going to have Zed, who's a DJ, Tiesto, who a lot of people know, and that's one of the songs at the Bellagio Fountain, the one that I teared up to when Vegas reopened. It was an emotional day that day. Pretty big deal. And we also have Celine Dion and Katy Perry and who knows what else coming. The Resorts World is really trying to peg a younger audience. They say 30 to 50-ish. That's what they're looking for. And it's a great plan for them. You know, they're going to have links up to the People Mover, the Boring Tunnel project, as I think they're calling it the Vegas Loop. That's the underground tunnel project by the Boring Company and Elon Musk's people. I mean, it's really a pivotal point of the north part of the Strip. It means a lot. But how did we get to this point? Man, the history. That's why I keep having to re-record this video. So as far back as the early 2000s, Boyd Gaming, which is a big gaming company that has resorts all across the country, but typically in Vegas, they're called Coast Casinos. Sun Coast was going to be the South Coast before it became the South Point, the Barbary Coast. You know, these are the coast type of casinos. So Boyd Gaming wanted to build something on their big site on the Las Vegas Strip where the Stardust sat. Now, the Stardust was a huge property, and it still is a huge property in people's minds and hearts. Stardust sat there from the 50s. It was so iconic that the movie Casino with Robert De Niro back in the 90s, that was actually based on the Stardust property. That's where they were talking about the skim or stealing money from the properties in the casinos and the mafia and all that stuff that built Las Vegas. So the Stardust closes and they announce on January 3rd, 2006. Boyd announced the closure of Stardust within a year. They announced the opening of Echelon Place by 2010. They said this property would cost $4.3 billion. And upon announcing this property, their stock actually took a hit. A lot of people didn't believe that Boyd could complete the project. They've never done anything this big before. So we don't have a lot of confidence in you, so your stock goes down. One tower, interestingly enough, was supposed to be the Delano. Yeah, the Delano, the one that sits over by the Mandalay Bay right now. We reviewed one of the super high roller suites at the Delano. Yeah, but in this case, it was going to be different project operators putting money into the project. So hotel operators like the Delano would have to put their money into the hotel. And that'll come back to haunt them later in just a few minutes. And we'll tell you why that was one of the reasons why this whole entire thing fell apart for the Boyd people. But yeah, by November 1st, 2006, the Stardust was officially closed forever. I was actually there that day. I was there when it closed forever because I worked across the street over by Silver City Plaza, which is where the Walgreens sits right now. And you guys know that that's right across the way. And I remember going over there and getting a bunch of swag, stuff we all get, that kind of thing. They had different bags full of, water bottles. And I wish I'd kept that stuff. I really did. But, so many moves later, and here we are. I don't have any of it anymore. But by doing that, they removed 100,000 pounds of asbestos out of the property. Fun fact, there was a lot of asbestos in the Stardust. That's what happens when you build stuff in this country in the 1950s. We didn't know any better. Now we know. March 13th of 2007, the Stardust was officially imploded in the middle of the night, like they always do. And by June 19th of 2007, Echelon Resort was officially having Echelon Place was having its groundbreaking. Now the cost had now went up from $4.3 billion to $4.8 billion. That's due to increased costs on construction materials. And if you were in Vegas back in the day, you know that there was a lot of construction happening in 2007. You of course had the City Center project, you had the Cosmopolitan, and then you also had obviously the Resorts World that was trying to be competitive in that space. So construction materials go up over time. That's why when you're on a construction site, the banks want to be paid on time. They want to also see the construction happen on time, because if the construction's not happening and then prices increase on your materials, you might run out of money. And in this case, that happened. So yeah, basically by August 1st of 2008, Boyd Gaming stopped construction for 9 to 12 months due to the bad economy. They said that their hotel partners like the Delano were no longer able to actually pay to fund their hotel towers, and they couldn't make up the gaps in funding. So they said between 9 to 12 months due to the bad economy, let's wait this out, let's see how it goes. But at doing so, they laid off 10,000 people literally overnight that day. This actually hurt the Vegas housing market, which was already in a tailspin due to the fact that a lot of people back in the day, in the mid to 2010 era, they were getting loans that they shouldn't actually get on homes, which caused their mortgages to go up, which caused them to default, which caused the Vegas housing market to go haywire. But these 10,000 people, they were laid off. They had years of employment in front of them, as it takes years to build these projects. So they were in a good place to buy homes. Suddenly, they're not. This hurt the housing market. And I remember where the wife and I were when we actually saw this thing was being, when I actually predicted this thing was going to have problems. We would go over to the Gold Coast, which is cross street from the Palms. We would cash our checks and go and eat at this nice little restaurant that they had, a $5.99 steak and eggs, that kind of thing. And then one day they closed that little restaurant. They announced a TGI Fridays would be opening. And I told the wife right there, I said, that's it. This project's done. She goes, what? I said, the Echelon Place. They're not going to finish this thing. They're looking for the solid money from franchises. I don't think that's a good sign. And about a week later, this all happened. Yeah, so 10,000 people overnight. October 2009, flash forward, they said this project would officially be delayed 3 to 5 years to get it finished. And it sat vacant and didn't have anything happen to it for a couple of years until July of 2012, when the Clark County Commissioners officially gave a 6-year extension to complete the project, saying that they considered it an eyesore and blightful on the north end of the Strip. Now, by now, we had already kind of left the recession and things were kind of getting better for a lot of people. And, you can guarantee that this was having a lot to do with the Wynn and the Encore. And I can't say for sure, but I'm going to predict here. At the time, Steve Wynn was running his property. He didn't want his guests looking over and seeing a half-finished building. But they said they have 6 years to finish it. They were told they needed to beautify the site, and Boyd estimated it will cost them $4 million to beautify the front of the building, so you couldn't see it as much from the main road. And this would include shrubbery, maybe some nice ornamental things like walls. And they did. They put up a giant, huge ornamental thing like a wall. It was just a wall. Cover the frame up. So right now, all you have is a concrete shell in the middle of the desert. It would cost $13 to $15 million a year to maintain this site. So by March of 2013, from July of 2012, when that happened, basically Boyd Gaming officially tapped out. They said, we're done. We're selling this project to Genting. Is it Genting or Genting? I can never remember if it's a hard or soft G. They're a Malaysian-based company. $350 million. We're done. I don't know how much they had put into that project at that point. Maybe they just did enough to cut their losses. Resorts World that day was officially announced. Now we get into the new version of the construction. So how long have we gone? We've gone from 2006 to 2013. So we're 9 years, no, we're not 9 years in, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 7 years into this whole thing, right? 8 years into it, 7 years in. All right, so in December 13th, it's announced $4 billion for the construction of Resorts World Las Vegas. Construction is said to start in late 2014. The project is going to be a sprawling ode to everything Asian related. The whole point of this is to get people who have never been to Vegas to come over from Asia so they can stay at the Genting property because they already know these places. There's Resorts Worlds in Malaysia. There's a Resort World in the Philippines by this point. So that's who they're really targeting. $4 billion is what they say. And by May 2015, Resorts World has a groundbreaking. I mean, I got to go back and visit that last point for a minute, though. I know it's kind of all over the place at this point, but I'm doing this a lot. I'm doing this all in one take. They're going to have a Panda Bear on site. A Panda Bear. Now, whenever I see a Panda Bear, I think it's just a guy in a suit, because panda bears are awesome and it looks like a guy in a suit. But no, they're going to have a live panda. They're going to have a big Great Wall of China. This was going to be very, very Eastern, Ancient, Orient, like all these words from back in the day. That was the theme. Here's a picture of it right on the screen. So yeah, by May 2015, Resorts World had its official groundbreaking. Groundbreaking. Expected for an opening phase 1 in mid of 2018. So they're going to phase it in. They're going to have up to 5 different towers at this point. Phase the whole thing in mid 2018. By January of 2016, though, all permits were granted for the property. Full construction was to start in the fall of 2016 with a new opening date of early 2019. So we're already falling back behind. By early 2017, however, they could not install construction cranes to get started because by then there was new construction happening. We were about 9 years away from the worst part of the Great Recession that we went into. None were available. Resorts World was actually redesigned at this point, too, to attract a younger demographic. And they said that we want to hit people that are in their late 20s to early 50s. And they said that they're going to be delaying the opening to 2020 at this point. And then interestingly enough, as they started going through the construction, the Wynn and the Encore across the street noticed something very interesting. They noticed that the property looked a lot like the Wynn and the Encore. They said, wait, we're not building a new property across the street. What's this all about? So in December 2018, Wynn sued in federal court for trademark violations. They say that the property, Resorts World Las Vegas, was looking to profit from misleading the people to think it was a Wynn and Encore property. Now, the people over at the Resorts World argued back that, well, we were building that based on old renders, and here's some new renders that we have. And the Wynn and the Encore argued back in federal court and said that, yeah, your new renders are cute, but look at the building across the street. Well, by 2019, this was all settled out of court. So it didn't really come to anything. And obviously, the dark maroon glass was, and the red colors and the white trim in between, that was never put on the building itself, as you can see from its renderings today. But by November of 2019, it was announced to have a summer of 2021 opening date. And the project was now worth $4.3 billion, which is ironic because that's the original cost of the original Echelon Place. But with the cost of inflation between 2006 and 2019, there's definitely a discrepancy in the prices, making the 2006 price more than the 2019 price. But you know what? This is the first resort to actually open up on the Strip since the Cosmopolitan. But this is one of the most convoluted, twisted tales of opening a property that you've ever heard of, is it not? It's kind of ridiculous, but it really is going to do something great for the economy here in Las Vegas. It really is going to bring people into the north part of the Strip. If you have any idea of how busy the north part of the Strip is, consider the fact that when the World of Concrete Expo goes through in June, we're going to have 100,000 people at the World of Concrete Expo here in Las Vegas. We're just going to be a few weeks away from the World of Concrete Expo and the opening of this new property, the Resorts World Las Vegas. And honestly, it's going to be a new beginning for an area of the Strip that I used to love, and a lot of you guys did too. And hopefully we can fill in the gaps with the Fontainebleau being the next, and possibly the All Net Arena next to the Fontainebleau, which is a giant, huge 20,000 seat basketball arena that they've been trying to build for a long time too. But until all that happens, we do have one thing for certain. We can go to the Resorts World Las Vegas on June 24th and check the property out. We will definitely be there on the camera, so I hope you guys will like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for that. And thank you guys so much for watching my video. That's my video today, and I'm sticking to it. Tell us what you think about this property. It is going to change things. That's the biggest, longest, most twisted history I could have done, and I could have gone on for probably an hour, but nobody would have been watching at the end of that video. But now's the time of the video where I say if you guys guys want to support us, VegasFaceMask.com is a great option for you guys. No S at the end. I've been wearing it around my neck the whole time, didn't even realize it. And now's the time of the video where I say thank you, and we're going to say 3, 2, 1, click. And yeah, here we go. We got to click out, got to get to my regular day job, and we got to go. We got to say 3, 2, 1, and click.